Good morning, friends. Hello, friends. Good morning to you. Hope you're well. Hope this day is on this beautifully sunny day. I hope you are getting out and getting to enjoy some of it. That I hope there's goodness in your in all that you encounter today. All right. Good morning. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Kristen. How are you? Hope you're doing great. Hey, Donna. Good morning. I hope things in Maine are as sunny and beautiful as they are here today. It is going to be glorious. It's already well into the 60s, headed into the 70s. Might actually get balmy here today in the city. Karen, good morning to you. You doing great? Having a good day? Have a little mug up this morning before we get going. Sunny and warm. Oh, that's terrific. That is terrific. Um, yes, I was just the this really has. Hey, Vicky, good morning to you. This really has been a spectacular spring here. Um, Boy, I don't know. I know this with all of the rain and all of the wet, it has just given us just a fantastically beautiful um, season of blossoms and of daffodils and um, the azaleas and the rhododendrons are going to start soon. So there's all manner of goodness coming. Even with all the gray, there is beauty in it. Uh, Good morning, Sharon. How are you? Hope you're great. All right, friends, let's get going this morning. It is the 21st day of May, another week that we come together on this Tuesday, and I'm glad you're here. Does my heart good to see your little digital faces, and if you are just hearing my voice here, or even for the first time, I hope that this finds you well. There's our the poppies are out just in time, and that's kind of what a little bit about what we're going to talk about today is this notion of a divine design. Whether you if you listen to Joe Rogan or not, if you're a fan of podcasts, if you are, great. If you're not, doesn't matter. But he just had an actor, Terrence Howard, who also has just a great length and breadth of genius on board as well on his podcast. And for about 3 hours, they just talked about these big things up in the ether. But really, what it all came down to, and what they're describing, and the way in which they were describing the universe, which is kind of different than material science. And I'm not here to like say, oh, Howard is right, and the things he was challenging are wrong. That's not really my point. It's really to go a level higher. But because what it hearkened in me was this reminding of how we are in and we are a part of and we are nested in the divine design. And we find it again and again and again. We find it in Bible in terms of the design of the design of the Garden of Eden with the rivers coming from the four directions from the mountaintops, and the way in which the garden itself is structured. We find it in the divine design of the ark when Noah builds the ark, and there's all of these beautiful and measurements that get given out, and there's a way in which that actually works in a design capacity, that there's a proportion there. There's a way in which things are put together that seems proper and seems right. It's present in the Temple of Solomon when and all of the ratios and all of that the way and it's most present in really at the very end of Bible where we get the description of what is the holy city near Jerusalem. This vision of how the holy city, how not the world, this little village that we live in, but how the grand and beautiful city that informs this world, of which this is a pale and kind of gross imitation, that the beauty that informs this world, its actual design. And that we can know this. We know it, and we know it all the time. In fact, it's so apparent to us that it's present in our poppies when they come out and they bloom, that the divine design, what mathematicians call the Fibonacci sequence, or the golden ratio or the golden mean. There's actually a ratio that if you look at somebody's face, there's actually a ratio between how far the eyes are from the nose to the mouth, the ways, and this is based off of the Fibonacci sequence, this golden ratio, this one, it is, if for the math geeks out there, it is 1.1618. So if you take a ratio, what's the distance between different things? The ratio between the differences, the closer it is to 1.618 is actually the more beautiful that we consider it. That not only are we hardwired to see this divine design, not only are we hardwired to know it, but it exists in our very body. It is found both in the pyramids of Egypt. It is found in the Google logo. It is found in a rose petal or in the blossoms of a lilac. It is present in all of Leonardo da Vinci's work. It is present in crystals when they form. When ice crystals form, they form at the ratio of 1.618. They form in this sequence. When a shell designs it, when a shell designs the nautilus shell, the circular nautilus shell, does so at a ratio of 1.618. This Fibonacci sequence that brings it into being, and it's found throughout the natural world. Now we can say, oh well, that's just the way the natural world is. We can say that's just how it comes together. But but the thing is the natural world. What we always have to remember is the natural world. It's simply a reflection of the spiritual world, of the inner life, of the world that comes from. This world where we are given the new heaven and a new earth. So this is from Revelation 21. This is the end of nearing the very end of Bible. This place where this image of the holy city, this image of that perfect ratio that is kind of coming to this world. And so I want to hear this and to just remind us of kind of let this wash over you and see if you can hear in it this divine design we're talking about. And then I saw the new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for a husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away." He who was seated on the throne said, "I am making everything new." And then he said, "Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." Can you see those elements in there? Can you hear it kind of peeking out that there is a divine design? And in fact, in this springtime, it is littered around us in the world. It is constantly assaulting us. And yet we feel like we have to come up with our own design so often in these days and so often in this world. We feel like we have to kind of come up with how are we going to organize things? How are we going to make this happen? How are we going to put it together? Because often when we look at our lives or we look at what's unfolding in our lives, when we look at, for instance, in the passage, and we look at our grief, we look at our sadnesses, and we say, oh, we got to get a hold of this. We got to control this. We got to wrestle this down, make sure everything's okay. Or we have to contend simply with our sadnesses and let the order of them, let the life of them unfold. And it's true also with our triumphs and our beauties, the things that we think we have to get in charge of and get on top of and make sure we line up, get all of our ducks in a row. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know a lot about ducks. I mean, I've hunted them a few, and they quack at me, and sometimes they're kind of mean. But here's the thing I do know about ducks is they don't want to be in a row. Ducks generally, unless they're going somewhere and they're, kind of in the make way for ducklings kind of movement of moving through the world, they generally don't want to be in a row. They generally want to be as ducks are. Ducks, oh, by the way, whose wing flaps, their and ratio from body to wing is, yeah, you guessed it, 1.618. And I think we see this in our life. I saw this image and I wanted to share it with you because I think it is beautiful in our understanding, because this is really what the divine order looks like. It looks like this. And this is a simple sprig off of a fir tree. This simple sprig off of a fir tree. All of these ratios in here, you know what they are? 1.618. That this fractal reality, and this is what Terrence Howard was on about on the Joe Rogan Experience, the podcast. But it's also, I think it's so much a part of our world these days, because one of the things about this order of the natural world is that in our own lives we struggle to trust that order. And not that just the order of the natural world, but the order, but understanding that order of the natural world that we're seeing with our eye is only a gross imitation of the true order of creation that comes from God, that flows into our hearts every moment and with every breath, that comes into our mind with every inspiration and everything. And yet our sense of what we often think is that we have to make it look like this. That we have to take all of the different pieces and parts and put them together and line them up and make sure we have all of our needles in a row, all of our stems and our branches properly arrayed. Friends, when we do that, we're creating chaos in this world, not order. This is the order of the world. And this is the order that's actually in your lives. And so whatever you're contending with, whether it is a great sorrow, whether it's a great triumph or a great warmth, whether it's something that you've just never done before and you don't know how to negotiate it, understand it has its own pattern. It has its own beauty on board. It has its own structure. The beauty of Debussy has in it the structure of the golden mean, as do most of the pieces of music that we call beautiful. But if we just went ahead and rearranged all the notes on the page, it would still be the same notes on the page. They'd just be in a different order. But would they not sound like chaos? Friends, whatever the note of your day is, whatever wherever you find yourself in the pattern and the structure of life in these days, it is my hope that you will, rather than try to rearrange all the pieces and parts, and bring it into chaos, that maybe you will look for that order. You will look for that high pattern of the holy city, which is present in your heart, which is present in your mind, which is present in the unfolding of your life. That this pattern is also the pattern of God's operation with us. That we can, with full and true confidence, know that there is a divine design. And that divine design is at work in your life. And that it's unfolding, it's growing new leaves, it's bringing new buds, it's bringing more flowers to it. If we will but stop picking off the petals and trying to set them all up in a nice big line, if we will but let the rose of our life grow at the pace and the way and the manner in which God is deigning it to come into bloom. This, friends, is my hope for your day. That all of our machinations to try and organize this thing is to remember that no matter how much chaos we think we see in the world or how much chaos we think we see in our lives, that the underlying reality of it all is that it is birthed and born in the divine design, in the true order of things, in the measure and the metric of the holy city that is implanted within us and is ordained for us, that is coming to us like a bridegroom walking down the waiting for the bride to arrive, and in the most beautiful chapel of our lives, that is what it is to be a created being of God. All right, friends, that is my hope for you today, and I hope that you have a little more order and a little less chaos and enjoy the divine design of your life. We will pick it up tomorrow with another 1111.